Congratulations on your purchase of the Landstar metal detector from Bounty Hunter. Metal detecting is a hobby for all ages, which can be enjoyed in all areas of the country. You'll find it to be an educational and scientific activity. It's an outdoor activity that can be great fun for the whole family. The Landstar is a professional detector with features like digital displays, manual and automatic ground balancing, a pinpointing mode, and superior depth detection, which are typically found on detectors costing 2 to 3 times the price of the Landstar. Metal detecting is one of America's fastest growing hobbies. If you are new to the activity, we hope that you will view this presentation in its entirety to fully understand the detector's operation and to get the most enjoyment possible from your detector. In this video, we will review metal detecting concepts and terminology, types of metals, the features and operation of the Landstar metal detector, troubleshooting advice, metal detecting applications, and also in-the-field tips and techniques.
Hello, I'm Tom Walsh, President of First Texas Products, home of the Bounty Hunter metal detector. Congratulations on the purchase of your Landstar. We are very proud of the products we manufacture and have enclosed this video to make your treasure hunting and metal detecting experience the very best possible. When you have assembled your detector and are ready to take it out for the first time, you may want to demonstrate it indoors, just as I'm about to do here. If you do demonstrate your detector indoors, recognize that there are many electronic devices inside your home which can interfere with the detector's operation. You see, this search coil creates a magnetic field. Electronic devices in and around your home can interfere with this magnetic field. Household appliances like microwaves, TVs, and lighting fixtures emit their own electromagnetic fields. If interference causes your detector to behave erratically, there is nothing wrong with the detector. Just turn the sensitivity down a bit. The detector will work well with the left knob in the 2 or 3 o'clock position. If your detector still behaves erratically, or you experience a loss in sensitivity, turn off lights and appliances until you locate the source of the interference. Secondly, metal objects in your home can interfere with your demonstration. Most floors contain metal, so do not place coins on the floor and try to detect them. If you want to practice targeting coins on the ground, we suggest you try this demonstration outdoors. Tables, chairs, and walls can also contain metal. The best way to demonstrate your detector indoors is to have one person hold and operate the detector while someone else passes metal objects over the search coil. Since foundations can contain metal, keep the search coil up at least 3 feet off the floor. For our demonstration, we will use these metal objects: a small nail, a screwdriver, this good-sized bolt, 2 gold objects, the smaller a woman's wedding band, the other a medium-sized gold ring, a pull tab from a beverage can, 2 pennies, one an older copper penny. Pennies minted before 1982 were made of copper. The second, a newer penny. Pennies made after 1982 are made of zinc, a less valuable metal. A nickel, a dime, quarter, half dollar, and a silver dollar. Let's get started. We'll place the right knob in the fully counterclockwise position and turn the detector on, entering the motion all metals mode. I'll pass a nickel, a pull tab, and a quarter. While each object induced a sound, notice that each object induced a different tone. The nickel, a low tone, the pull tab, a medium tone, and the quarter, a high tone. This 3-tone target identification system gives you audio feedback to help accurately identify buried objects. When passing objects over the search coil, a slow level sweeping motion is required. Coins should be swept with the flat surface parallel to the coil. This is how you'll find them buried in the ground, so your Landstar has been programmed to recognize them in this fashion. Remember, we are in an all-metal mode of detection. All types of metal will be detected, including, for instance, this nail, which is identified by its low tone and correct reading under the iron foil segment. Nails, of course, are made of iron. If you are searching for valuables, you would not want to waste time digging up nails. For this reason, the Landstar features target discrimination capability. Let's demonstrate this capability with the discrimination mode. By discriminate, we mean to selectively eliminate from detection certain types of metals. To enter the discrimination mode from the motion all metals mode, we simply turn the disc notch knob to the right. With the use of the disc notch knob, we now progressively discriminate out different, less desirable objects. We can turn the knob until the nail is no longer detected. We still, however, detect a pull tab and a recent vintage zinc penny. Now let's eliminate them. First, the pull tab, then, by turning the discrimination knob a little more, zinc is completely eliminated from detection. In this setting, however, we still detect older, more valuable copper pennies. As we progressively discriminate items out, notice that discrimination is a cumulative elimination system. As we move to higher levels of discrimination, all lower level items remain eliminated. For instance, at our current setting, we have unfortunately eliminated nickels, whose metallic signature is to the left of zinc. To overcome this problem, we use the notch mode. Notch allows us to selectively eliminate items within the metallic spectrum with a movable rejection window. Let's turn the disc notch knob back to the left and press the notch touchpad. Passing a newer zinc penny, we now turn the control until we notch out this medium tone object but still detect valuables lower in the metallic spectrum, like a nickel, or higher, like a quarter. The notch mode also automatically eliminates ferrous items, so regardless of the control setting, we will never detect a bolt, for instance, in the notch mode. If all of the settings and types of metal seem a bit overwhelming, for touch-and-go treasure hunting, you might try the auto notch mode. Press the auto notch touchpad, and most pull tabs and all ferrous items are automatically eliminated from detection, but lower and higher tone valuables, like a nickel and a dime, are still detected. In the auto notch mode, the disc notch knob provides the same variable rejection window that we demonstrated in the notch mode. One word of caution about pull tabs. We have programmed our metal detectors to accurately identify and eliminate the older type pull tabs, those that detach completely from beverage cans. When you are detecting in populated areas like parks and beaches, you will usually want to eliminate these older pull tabs. The newer pull tabs, which stay attached to the cans, have a different shape and can register differently. If you want to eliminate them, you can discriminate them out. Also, if you are jewelry hunting using auto notch or any discrimination setting, realize that gold rings have a shape similar to pull tabs and can be eliminated from detection along with pull tabs. Finally, let's demonstrate the no motion all metals mode. To enter this mode, press the all metal button, and the detector responds with a monotone hum whenever a metal object enters the coil's detection field. You will hear a single monotone hum regardless of the type of metal. The object can be motionless or in motion. The volume of the sound indicates signal strength. As I move an object from the limits of detection and then closer to the coil, the volume increases. This is the most sensitive mode and is best suited for pinpointing the exact location and size of a buried object. We'll demonstrate these techniques later in the field. Also note that periodic retuning in this mode is required using the ground track button. Additionally, this mode gives you the ability to manually ground balance the detector using the ground balance knob. Now that we know how to operate a bounty hunter, a brief explanation of metal detecting and metals is in order. This outside loop of the search coil creates a magnetic field. As metal objects pass through this magnetic field, they either disrupt or reflect this magnetic field. Different types of metals and different size objects have their own characteristic disruptive signature. This identifying signature is received by the smaller inside loop and then transferred to the detector's microprocessor for interpretation. So in order for a small object to be detected, it must pass within this smaller inner coil. With experience in the field, you will learn of the never-ending variety of metal objects, a variety of shapes, sizes, types, and even degrees of oxidation from years buried in the soil. To help you identify this variety of buried objects, the Landstar is equipped with a target and depth display. The top scale specifically identifies many common items. First, iron objects, like this nail, induce a low tone and light up the iron foil indicator. Foil gives the same reading. The nickel induces a low tone, but indicates one segment to the right. Next, the pull tab, we hear a medium tone, and the newer post-1982 penny, made of zinc, also induces a medium tone. Older copper pennies, like this Wheatie, induce a high tone, as do a dime, a quarter, $50, and finally, the silver dollar. Objects other than coinage will light up the same arrows but are more accurately identified along the gold to silver spectrum. Let's try these objects. A gold nugget, a smaller woman's wedding band, a medium-sized gold ring. Gold's reading depends on the size of the object. Brass behaves like this also. Let's pass a flattened aluminum can. It can look like a coin. Typically, aluminum cans flattened can look like a dime or a quarter. We will show you how to differentiate it from a coin later in the field. Finally, this watch gives many different readings, so it is probably a composite of many different types of metals. Some larger items are also exceptions to this target identification categorization. A very large round object, like a manhole cover, can induce a high tone. Typically, these exceptions will light up the farthest right segment. With experience in the field, you will learn to recognize these objects. Now let's explain how the depth indicator works. It is very accurate for coin-size objects. I'll pass a quarter at varying distances from the search coil, starting close and moving further away. Notice also that as we get far away from the search coil, a target identification can be less accurate. For larger objects, the depth readout gives a relative depth indication. I'll pass this bolt, starting close and moving further away. Notice that the depth indication correctly indicates an increasing depth. I am now passing the bolt over a foot away while the indicator reads about 8 inches. Now that we understand the basics of metal detecting, let's go in the field and put the detector to use. To get started in the field, we recommend you practice using the discrimination mode. Turn the detector on, sensitivity in the 3 o'clock position. Turn your discrimination control to just shy of noon. We recommend you practice coin shooting by throwing a couple coins on the ground. Here I'm going to throw out a quarter and a penny. Notice a slow, level sweeping motion is required. One method we recommend you use to identify good targets is a repeating signal. The best way to do this is to actually walk around the target. Every 10 degrees or so, past the coil, a repeatable target of this manner identifies it as a good target to dig.
It is important to sweep the coil using the correct technique. Always maintain a consistent speed as you sweep from side to side. It is very important to keep the coil parallel to the ground at all times. Do not lift the coil at the end of your sweeps. Do not sweep the coil like a pendulum. This can cause false readings and false targets. As you sweep, the detector is constantly calculating the ground's mineral content and averaging this calculation over time. A consistent coil speed at a consistent height from the ground lets the electronics scan the ground accurately and consistently to cancel out the Earth's naturally occurring minerals and only respond to the presence of buried metal objects.
To use the no-motion all-metal mode, you must first ground balance the detector. To enter the no-motion all-metal mode, press the all-metal touchpad. You generally get a slight hum. In response to this hum, you must turn the ground balance knob until the detector goes quiet. Periodically, you must retune the detector by pressing the ground track touchpad. After we have ground balanced the metal detector and are in the field, the best way to pinpoint targets is also using the all-metal mode. Generally, you want to search in a motion mode, like here, the discrimination mode. Once I've detected a target, you can accurately pinpoint the location of the target using the all-metal mode. I'm going to press the all-metal touchpad after I move the coil just off to the side of the target. I get a strong signal just over the target. I retune the ground track button just over the target, and I'm narrowing the detection field. This helps me to pinpoint the exact location of the buried object. Another practical use for the no-motion all-metal mode is to identify the size of the buried object. A small object will have a very small detection field. The detector will only hum when I move directly over the object, whereas a large object has a very large field. Outline of the shape of the object indicates when you have a large object or a very small one. As we demonstrated in the studio, a flattened, buried beverage container can appear just like a quarter. To discern the difference between a flattened, buried beverage container and a quarter, use this technique. Pass over the object and bring your search coil out further and further. If you detect a buried object which reads like a quarter or a dime at over a foot away, chances are it's not a quarter or a dime, it's actually a container.
You might encounter highly mineralized soil on beaches, in some mountainous areas, in the desert, or in gold prospecting locations. The motion discrimination modes are best suited for coin shooting, jewelry hunting, and searching trashy areas like parks and ball fields.
Sometimes, buried coin-sized objects, like this brass washer, can appear to the detector much like coins. To differentiate these objects from coins, sweep the search coil just off-center from the target. If the signal toward the edge of the coil is different from the signal over the center, chances are it's not a coin. A coin will induce a repeatable signal even with the search coil off-center.
Many great finds are located underwater or on wet terrain, so all bounty hunter search coils are completely waterproof. You can submerge the coil and stem completely into water with no loss of sensitivity or functionality. The case and case-to-cable connection must, however, be kept dry at all times. Just as your detector can react to electromagnetic interference inside your home, also beware of outdoor electromagnetic interference. Stay clear of power lines, both overhead and buried. They emit their own electromagnetic fields. Be very careful not to dig into buried utility lines.
A final treasure hunting tip. Don't get discouraged if you don't strike gold every time you dig. Some trash items can be difficult to distinguish from more valuable metals. Using the LCD display and 3-tone target ID, you will minimize the digging of trash items. Even the most experienced treasure hunters always experience a trash-to-treasure ratio. With practice and experience, you will learn more about metals and learn to reduce your trash-to-treasure ratio and get the most enjoyment possible from your bounty hunter metal detector.